to welcome to the stage Kacey Musgraves.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the mossy, evergreen, fern gully, whatever this is. I love it.
I'm just going to rest my foot casually on this rock right here.
I'm going to try to casually perch on this like I'm not going to slide off. Okay.
This is so fun. I'm so excited to be here with you. What an incredible backdrop and night that we have. And you are here in the middle of a world tour.
I am.
You've got 2 dates coming up in LA.
I'm sorry. That's better somehow. Okay. Yes.
Are we good? Are
Yes.
everybody good? Okay, good.
Yes, 2 dates coming up actually tomorrow and the next day. I'm so excited.
So how is the tour going? I did hear something special about the tour is that you levitate in the tour. Is that right?
This is true. This is true. It's a bit of a Chris Angel, David Copperfield infusion. It's been really fun. Yeah.
Flying is kind of like de rigueur now for big shows like that. Is anyone ever terrified?
I mean, it feels really nice. It feels really nice. Yeah, we had an illusionist work on this with me, and after the Cardinal video, I wanted to kind of figure out a way to bring that to the show. So it's fun.
Sorry for the spoilers if anybody's going, but pretend you didn't hear about it. All right. We did get a chance to talk a few months ago, and I've been thinking about something that you talked about at the time. We talked about your first musical memories. And I remember you said you had was it one of those Fisher-Price tape recorders that you dragged around?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit more about that, because you started songwriting as a kid.
So it definitely, I think, started with the Fisher-Price thing, just with my little plastic microphone. Somewhere along the way, I think I started writing poems, and my mom was like, you should try to turn that into a song. And I think it was age 9 that I wrote my first song. It's a very thirsty title. It was called Notice Me. Notice me. So anyways, there's that. I might have to dig that one back up. But so that was an early song memory. And then also my grandpa, he has this incredible record collection. He is somebody who just scours yard sales and all kinds of, bargain bins and stuff for vinyl. And he's kind of a hoarder a little bit in that way, in the cutest way. And he has this room that is just, there's no rhyme or reason to any of the vinyl. It is floor to ceiling. It is stacks everywhere you can see. And it's like a little treasure hunt every time you go in there. Nothing is alphabetized or anything. And so after school, I would get off the bus and go there and dig through the records, and he would set up a little record player for me, and I would find music I'd never heard of. Mostly sometimes it was oh, I like the way this artwork looks on the cover. And one specifically that I remember was Sweetheart of the Rodeo by the Byrds. And I just liked the cowgirl on the front. I was like, who's this? And then I put it on, and I ended up loving the music too. But that's how I found out about a lot of the older stuff too.
I love it. You were a crate digger as a child.
Yeah, totally.
You and DJs. So, I mean, now has it occurred to you that you are some people's first musical memory? Certainly first concert?
That is crazy. Sometimes, I'll look out and see children, and my first thought is, oh my God, sometimes I cuss like a sailor, and I can't help it. I'm so sorry. But I have been asking the crowd sometimes, who in here, who's your, is this your first concert? Raise your hand. And lots of children. The other day, there was a guy who looked like he was in his 40s. I was like, are you lying? Really? That's amazing. Welcome.
That's so cool. Or embarrassing.
I was like, where have you been?
Yeah. Yeah.
He was like, it's true. I don't know. It's weird.
Better late than never, coming to music. When you're writing, do you think about how the songs are going to sound on stage or how they're going to perform? Because the production is not always the same as it is on the album.
I'm not usually thinking of how they're going to, be put together in a live sense. I'm mostly, if I'm thinking about anything else, it's the visuals. I'm instantly kind of seeing the world that it's living in, the kind of movie of it, the video, whatever. Yeah.
That's interesting because, artists of your stature, they often work with a creative director or somebody like that. But tell us a little bit about how big a part, you play in choosing the aesthetics and the visuals and this whole vibe of the work.
I mean, I just can't imagine doing it any other way. I know that a lot of people do have creative directors, and I think there's a million ways to do it. There's no right or wrong way. And maybe if I met a creative director at some point, it would be them infusing ideas I'm not thinking of, and that could be cool. But I mean,
Nobody give resumes though after the
yeah.
show, right? Maybe.
But no, I mean, I take so much joy in the shaping of a vision. I mean, that's the best part to me. All the other stuff is kind of superfluous. And I just love getting this lightning strike of a small seed of an idea. It could be a word, a title, just even like a small vision. And then you're just like, ooh, I want to explore that more. And then the shaping of that and seeing it come to its like most heightened, most realized state, which I think is definitely album. And then also, the live show, just all these dimensions that this idea can like expand into. That's my favorite part. I get so into these little worlds, and that's what brings me the most joy. So I don't like handing it off to anyone else, really.
Do you keep like a mood board? Do you pin stuff?
I'm always making little mood boards about lots of little things, little micro obsessions, little like joint ideas. Yeah. Lots of late nights on Pinterest and Etsy and all the things. Yeah.
Now people are going to need to know your Pinterest account name.
It's private. No. A lot of weird stuff on there.
Now, are you one of the kind of artists that can, you're so into doing it, and then can you write when you're on tour? Is there like a journal full of ideas on the bus from Pittsburgh, whatever?
I don't really write on the road. I mean, I've tried to a couple times. I think on the road, it's just there's so much stimulation all the time, and you're just tired. But I like to let life sort of build up a little, and I keep a running notes, in my notes app on my phone. There's just titles, words, thoughts, and then when I get time, I'll just go dig through that and knock out a bunch at one time and kind of live in that for a minute. So that's kind of how I like to do it.
How long was Deeper Well in the Notes app before you decided this is the one?
I had bits and pieces of that, like over the course of, I don't know, a year or however long. I mean, some of the ideas, like you'll go way back in there and it could be like an idea from 3 years ago that you're just like, oh, this could somehow apply. So you go in and grab it. Yeah.
Now you have the extended version of the album, Deeper into the Well. It's a big well.
It's never ending.
So tell us about how you chose some of the tracks that wound up there.
Well, some of them were older. Little Sister, oh my gosh, I'm going to forget what all songs are on there. But yeah, it's a mix of old and new. And I just think I had so much fun creating that world. I just like didn't want it to be over. And so I like the extension, keeping it going and kind of deepening some of the thoughts that were on the original release and kind of, expounding upon some of those. So it's definitely a mix of old and new. But yeah, it's interesting how songs can just kind of find their way. Like you can write something and then years might go by. You're like, oh, it doesn't work for this project or this project. And then it somehow like presents itself and it's like, oh, this is the perfect timing for this. So it's fun.
How do you know, though, when a song is finished? Is it, a producer have to drag you away from the studio?
Yeah, I mean, you do have to put the pencil down at some point. I don't know. I think there's a bunch of different ways to make a record. And sometimes if you have too much time, you can just kind of edit and edit and edit and overthink and just kind of drive yourself fucking crazy. But, and then I've made a record before, like in a really short amount of time. And what's kind of cool about that is though you get less time to edit, you're working more on like natural instinct, like lightning reflexes. And that's kind of cool too. It's just a totally different thing. But I mean, it's funny when you're working on a project. I'm sure as some of you in here know, it's like you work on it for so long that you get to a point where you're like, I think this sucks. I can't tell if this is the worst thing I've ever heard or the best. And you're like, just when you get to the point of where you're like, I'm sick of these. It's like, okay, I think we're done. I think, and then, you go through the process of like, they go through a whole different life of, you do the visuals, you put the physical packaging together and then it swings back around and everyone gets to hear it when the album comes out and everyone else gets to hear it. It's like you're reliving the songs and you're reminded why you love them because you're hearing them through other people's ears for the first time. And that's another kind of refresh of the life of the songs. And then, you know, they live with the songs for a while, and then it's, oh, it's time to plan the tour. How are we going to put the set list together? And then, you know, you get to see people experiencing them in a live sense. And so it's cool. It's just they keep kind of living on.
I mean, artists always talk about being so excited about their new material, but is there ever a sense of just being a little bit worried?
Worried that people are going to hate it. um, I'd say, yeah. I mean, there is some of that. I mean, you of course hope people will like it, but I think like, and I don't know if this sounds like complete bullshit, but it's like it really does make me the most happy. It's for me, and like, I feel like I'm the determination of whether something is good in my mind. And I'm like, if everyone else likes it, that's amazing. And if they don't, I would be sad about that. But but it's for me, you know. Yeah.
Do you ever dream in song lyrics or melodies?
Yes, and it's annoying because you're like, I have to write this down right now, or it's gonna be gone forever. Actually, I mean, it's happened multiple times, but one in particular was this Christmas song that I wrote, and it was a duet with Leon Bridges years ago, yeah, and it was "Present Without a Bow," but that line, "Me without you" is like a present without a bow, like popped in my, it like tapped me on the shoulder, woke me up, and I had to like freaking write it down. But it happens sometimes.
It is. I'm laughing because it is annoying. I have that too
Yes.
as a writer, and
You're like,
it
I
drives me crazy.
finally- yeah.
I'll be like riding my bike. I live in New York through downtown and have to pull over and make a voice note. Otherwise, I will forget or get in an accident. I'm glad you brought up Leon because you guys have a track together on Deeper in the Well, and you know I'm curious when you've had some really loyal collaborators, songwriters, and producers that you've worked with over the years, Daniel Tashin, if I'm pronouncing his name right, and Ian Fitchuk. But when you have a collaborator like Leon, who's comes from a different tradition and vocally might be a little different production-wise, do you just hear him and think, "I want to harmonize"? How did that process come together?
Yeah, I'm such a fan of his style. He's a Texan. I've been a fan for a long time, and we did know each other from working on the Christmas stuff. So I don't know. I thought he'd be a really good fit for Super Bloom, and I love the new stuff he's putting out too. It's cool.
Do you ever work with artists and it just doesn't click? You don't. I'm not asking to name names, just in general.
I pull out a list. It gets awkward. Honestly, not really. I feel like, I mean, unless I've just blocked it out, I can't really think of any. But I feel like if you're feeling a good energy pull towards doing something with someone, it's for good reason. You know, I'm not just going to do something with somebody reluctantly or like just for no reason, you know.
You do sing in Deeper in the Well, and you talk about like you've had some, let's say, some light 'em up anthems over the years, like Follow Your Arrow, Slow Burn, and you talk on Deeper in the Well. They used to wake and bake, and you don't anymore.
I mean, I said I don't wake. Okay, I never said, listen, everyone tried to get a little pissy about this. Some fans were like, she doesn't even wake and bake anymore. I mean, this is a sham. I don't know what's real anymore. I never said I didn't partake occasionally, responsibly, in moderation. I just said that I don't immediately roll out of bed and go to the sink where there's a bucket full of water and then a 2-liter that's cut in half that I've fashioned into a gravity bong that then proceeds to rip my face off and send me into the stratosphere, breaking the space-time continuum fabric and then going about my day. I don't do that anymore. But there's still time. I think it would be nice as when I'm an older woman to just do a lot of pottery and smoke a lot of weed. So
I think we can all get behind that ambition. You know, I don't, this is sort of a non sequitur, but I have talked to a lot of artists recently, and especially Nashville artists, country artists, who have not a one has not talked about doing shrooms. So I don't know what's in the air.
what are shrooms? I've never heard of them. No, we can talk about psilocybin all day long if you want to. I don't, that's not what you came here for.
That's a different.
No, but for real, you should, if you guys don't know about Paul Stamets, he's a mycologist. Please go watch his documentary, Fantastic Fungi. It's incredible. I'm just like such a nerd for Paul and all the work he's doing. And yeah, please go watch it.
So it was a non sequitur, but it worked. A fantastic fungi. I love that. You talk on Deeper in the Well on the extended cut. You have this song called Irish Goodbye. Which, does everybody know what an Irish goodbye is? Okay, this is sadly. And you sing about how there ain't much respect in an Irish goodbye. Do you in real life believe in them, and you just did it for the song lyric?
Socially, I do believe in an Irish goodbye. Romantically, I do not. So, yeah. Or ghosting, as the children like to call it these days.
But there's a lot of goodbyes on the album. Like in the first, in Deeper Well, you're talking about saying goodbye to people who are wasting my time.
Yeah. Yeah. Transitions. Yeah, they're transitioning. I'm right in the middle of my mid-30s. I feel like there's such a shift toward the more important when you leave your 20s and get real comfy in your 30s, and you're just like, you're kind of looking ahead at the horizon. I don't know, you have less energy for what doesn't really matter. And I don't know, it just seems like it's easier to just say like, okay, no, or whatever.
Wait till you hit your 40s, my friend.
Can't wait. Almost there.
Pottery and what was the other part?
Pottery, weed, horses. Yeah. Probably knitting, like making some big sweaters.
This is your segue to talk about your fashion line. The sweaters.
Okay, nice. Okay, yeah.
I had it elsewhere, but we can talk about it now. So you did a fashion line, your first with Reformation, a wonderful LA brand.
Yes.
And talk about inspiration, the Cotswolds. Tell us about that.
Well, definitely like horse girl everything was definitely inspiration. The English countryside, it's very romantic. It's very feminine. It is sustainable. That was important. That was the first question I asked. Was like, they say they're sustainable. Are they really? They are. And that's very important to me. But it was so fun. I got involved in all the details, and I just really love, again, like the shaping of something, the architecture of what makes something pleasing to your eye or your ear, and there is an architecture to everything. And it was just fun getting involved in that. And it wasn't something that I just like slapped my name on and, let other people design. It was a very fun creative endeavor. And then I somehow convinced Reformation to let me shoot the campaign photos in the picturesque, bucolic English countryside in the Cotswolds, and my little sister shot all the photos. And my team and I went over there and just collabed on this really, I don't know, it was a very storybook, and it was so fun.
Your Pinterest exploded.
It literally shut down. Yeah.
I did want to. I did want to ask about you writing about people who are wasting your time and saying goodbye to them. Did anybody get in touch thinking it was about them?
That would have been really entertaining. No? Those kinds of people, though, probably thought, this isn't about me.
I love to talk with you about your perception of risk, right? Because you've always done things that were not done in country, especially as a young woman. On Dinner with Friends, you sing about how you love your home state of Texas, the sky there, the horses and dogs, but none of their laws. So talk about how you have channeled that appetite for risk as a person, as an artist, and into your songwriting.
For me, it's never just about like doing something for the risk factor. That feels shallow to me, or like doing something for shock value. Like when I think back to Follow Your Arrow, it being 2012 and me really wanting that to be on, my first project, and the label just being like, you're definitely gonna go down in flames if you release this. I had to just be like, I don't feel like it's doing something outlandish or crazy. I mean, I'm just doing my job as a songwriter, taking these things that are happening in my real life and making an impact on me, and I'm putting them into song. And then, you make the case for country music, it not fitting there, but, country music is a genre that is built on real stories, real songs, real people, hardships, like some of the hard stuff to talk about. I mean, that's the whole point of where country music came from, folk stories. And so why wouldn't it include everyone's experience? Because whoever we lay down beside at night, that might look different for everybody, but we're all driven by the same emotions. It's all the same shit. It doesn't matter. So it's just like bringing it back to like, this is not about risk. It's just about being real. It's just about real life, real stories.
Do you feel like you have a place though in evolving what country, that idea that country shouldn't be this, it shouldn't be that, these kind of rules? I mean, this also is an outlaw genre.
That is true. That is true. And a lot of people, I think, love to tout or, enjoy the outlaw until the outlaw doesn't align with their specific beliefs. And that's a little, that's a tough line to walk. You know what I mean? It's also hypocrite. What's the word? Double-edged sword? I don't know. Whatever. It's in that category. But yeah, I don't know. It is interesting. Yeah.
Do you feel like you have any sort of social responsibility as an artist to talk about things?
Like, in what sense? Like politically or otherwise? Just.
Yeah, politically, culturally.
I don't know. I feel conflicted about this. I've been thinking about this a lot lately because I did take a stand early on and letting people know where I stand, even though it wasn't an aim to make a political statement, but it ended up being one, and that's fine. But I think we live in just such a climate right now that feels so polarized, and it doesn't really matter what side you're on. And I feel like sometimes I do feel the pressure to get on and have an opinion about said thing that I do care about. But I mean, when I put my opinion out there, it's mostly echoing in a canyon of people that already think like me, and it's not really enacting real change. And the people that it does hit, that it rubs up against, are so turned off by it. They're not even there. It's not making real change. And so, I mean, you can think of like any recent issue. It really doesn't matter what side you show support for. You're pissing someone off. And sometimes lately, I've just been thinking, with all the chaos going on in the world, like I kind of at this point would rather be like a respite and an escape from a lot of that. That doesn't mean that I don't want to have values that I like stand up for. It's a hard line to walk. I'm still trying to figure that out right now. But
Yeah.
I think it's an ever-changing thing. And I think like the climate now is different than 5 years ago. It's different from 5 years before that. It's going to be different in 5 years. And so maybe just kind of, I don't know, just picking and choosing the things that I like really make a stand about. Because also, even if when someone thinks like you, no one loves to just see somebody on their damn soapbox like all the time. Sometimes it's nice to just be like, I mean, we get it from every angle. It's like, I just want to enjoy art a little bit right now. I don't know. But I get how that can also sound like I don't want to get involved in political issue to make more people happy. And I don't want it to feel like that either. So it's just tough.
It is tough. It's hard to know what to do and how to manage your voice,
It is hard because like I do care about the issues that I care about. I also care about country music, and like country music is always going to be made up of people that are more conservative thinking. It's just the way it goes. And you have to at some point respect their individual ideas too. I don't know. It's tough.
I absolutely feel for you, and I've had this conversation with a lot of artists who are not sure how to proceed. But it's interesting to think about the people that are listening in all those households, in the conservative households,
Yeah.
and the younger generations that might be hearing all of these messages too and absorbing it.
Yeah, I mean, and one of the greatest compliments that I'd say that I've ever gotten is when someone is like, you know, I grew up in a small town just like you, and you know, I came out or you know, before I came out, you know, I loved country music, but I never felt like I was invited to the party. And your music made me feel like I could finally join the party that I was always interested in, you know? And that made such a big impact on me. But anyways, back to the social thing is like another thing that doesn't sit well with people is silence. And I understand why, but sometimes forced activism is I don't feel right about that either, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I will not force you into any statements today. That's not where this is going. I will. We'll talk more. Let's talk more about the feel of the album. There's a lot of contentment on the album. It's like pastoral, like taking a walk by a stream,
Yes.
LA forest.
Insert this.
Yeah. Do you need that sense of peace to be able to write? It sounds like you do, but a lot of the album was written in New York.
Yeah, that's the weird thing is I felt really pulled to go to New York City. I just felt really interested in creating there for some reason. I mean, I love New York so much. And I have made most of my music in town in Nashville in a friend's studio or whatever. But I was like, let's do something different. So we went to Electric Lady Studios, which it's got so much great mojo, and it's just right in the heart of Greenwich Village, which obviously is kind of the birthplace of folk in so many ways, stories and poetry, and so I felt naturally pulled there, and it was just interesting because I didn't really know exactly what record I was gonna make. I just knew that I was drawn to make something a little bit more organic and warm, and I really wanted to refine and rein in the sonic palette a little bit more. I think Starcrossed was maximalist in a lot of ways, and it was really fun for me. I can be a pop girly too. Like I like that kind of stuff. And it was a bit acidic. It was kind of intense. It was a post-divorce album. I needed to make that, and you know, it picked up some new people along the way. Some people it wasn't their thing. Fine. I liked making it. It was fun for me. So I just knew that with the next thing, I wanted it to be more simple, more warm, more organic. And we went to New York, and I think the first day we wrote Nothing to Be Scared of. I think that was our first song that we wrote, and it's just got this nice finger picking kind of roll to it. And it instantly kind of set the tone for this world that we were going to be creating. And I don't know, I just found it really ironic that in the heart of New York City, which is obviously one of the biggest cities in the world, and it is maximalist as well. It's every like scent, sound, color. I mean, it is humanity on 10 everywhere you are. Every language, you know. And but I was able to find this like really calm blank slate to work from, and it also it found me using a lot of like my like folk and country sides again. I don't know. I think it's funny to go to the city to find the country. There's something in there.
You're not the first, especially at Electric Lady. It has that effect on people. Since we are at the Grammy Museum, I have to ask: when you watched the Grammys as a kid, who did you imagine thanking?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I mean, you mean just if I got up there, what would I say?
Yeah. And how did the experience that you I'm just assuming that you imagined that moment, as a lot of musicians do.
Yeah.
How did it compare when you actually, won the Grammy for the first time?
Oh my God, that was insane. My mom was my date. I did not think that was gonna happen. But your mind just goes freaking blank. You're like, I am nonverbal all of a sudden. I don't know what to say. And I get really nervous about just speaking and just like on the spot stuff. I can sing all day long, but I hate just on the spot talking like that. But I mean, if you can even get one thank you out to someone that actually matters to you, it's like, you're like, good job. But it's hard to not leave people out. But yeah, I don't know. Your family, your collaborators, the universe. Oh my God, obviously the fans, your whole team too that works their ass off to help you get there.
I want to read this because you have some rarefied Grammy status. So you won a Grammy for your duet with I Remember Everything with Zach Bryan last year, and that with that Grammy, drumroll please.
Love a little stat.
Yeah, you're the only. Here's the fun fact. You're the only artist to ever receive a Grammy Award for Best Country Album, Best Country Song, Best Country Solo Performance, and Best Country Duo or Group Performance.
That's crazy. That is crazy. That's wild.
They're gonna have to invent some new categories for you. you and Beyonce.
Yeah. Maybe
I
best
said it.
moss. Can that be a category?
I
Kacey
think-
Musgraves. It's just think about it. It's yeah.
I think we have some time for our audience Q&A. Is that good?
I'm scared. I'm scared. Oh. Hey.
Some of these folks signed their questions, so I'll read your names. How do you choose what songs make it onto the set list? P.S. Justice for Arm's Length.
Who said that? You. Okay. I'll think about that. I like that you like that song. I love that. Yeah, you have been bullying me on Twitter. Honestly, peer pressure works. Keep going. Keep going. You never know. Okay. Okay. Okay, well, how do we choose the songs in the set list? It's a good question because it's extremely hard to make everybody happy. There's always someone that's really annoyed at you for leaving something out. And I don't want to be that artist. You know, we've all been to those concerts, I'm not going to name names, where they're like, I won't play anything old. They're like, and you're like, oh, I want to hear the hits. I want to hear, you got to have a mix of some old, but it's really fun for us to play the new stuff too. And then you got to have a fire cover, obviously. But no, we put a lot of thought into it. My band leaders, Drew and John, we really we labor over it and we're like, this goes here, this transitions well into here. Ooh, can we mash these up? Oh, they're in the same key. Perfect. Reimagining covers. It's really fun to do that, but it's also borderline stressful.
Is it handwriting? Do you handwrite them?
Yeah, there's a million versions. And then we finally get it right.
Who has the best handwriting? I think you have very nice handwriting. We
Do
talked
I?
about this last time.
I don't know. It's kind of manic. It can be, it's mostly cursive, and then sometimes it's randomly in all caps. I don't know. But yeah.
Okay. Alyssa asks, what lyrics or song choice were you most excited about when you first came up with it? Sonic choices, sorry.
In any record or in any? Oh, man.
Thanks for clarifying.
Yeah, thanks for narrowing that down. Well, I know whenever I cry during writing a song, I know it's really a special one, at least to me. Merry-Go-Round comes to mind. There's a bunch that I've cried through a lot of Deeper Well for sure. But Merry-Go-Round, I remember that turn of phrase and that, Mary, Mary, quite contrary, just the way that it flowed. I was down in Texas writing that with my friends. And it's such a good feeling when a lyric kind of locks together. It's like a good puzzle, and you're like, yes, it's like a riddle. And that song felt so great. I felt like it was my special little thing that I had. Just knew my own little story. I was so proud of it. Another one that really sticks out is Slow Burn, because I was really trying on those songs to kind of change up my writing attack or MO or just my process a little bit. In previous songs, I really love, obviously I love a turn of phrase and humor, and I think I got a little not bored by it, but I just wanted to try a more stream of consciousness kind of writing where it's not so literal, it's not so linear, it's a little bit more aerial, not as focused. I think I was just kind of wearing myself out a little bit by trying to flip every single line as tightly as possible. And I still do love songwriting like that, but Slow Burn was one that I felt like I got to really relax into that writing style and and just kind of like coast, like let it coast, let there be some air in the lyrics. I don't have to explain every damn thing every time. So anyway, that comes to mind. Also, the intro to Cardinal. I was like, when we came up with that, I was like, yes, it felt so good. I was like, that has to be song number 1 on the record. Has to open it. Yeah.
It does feel good when your writing has some space to breathe.
Yeah.
I felt that.
It's kind of hard to, I found it to be harder than, putting the microscope on and defining every little thing as tightly as you could. Like it's restraint is harder, I think. But it was a fun challenge.
Yeah, it gets easier in your 40s. So this is a good question. How do you like to spend your alone time? Just share it with the world now.
I love sleeping. I love Postmates. Very convenient. I love sitting in an infrared sauna, reading. I was going to say spending time with friends, but that's the antithesis of being alone. So that makes zero sense at all. Good glass of wine. I love being with my dog, putting my fireplace on, watching a movie. I live in this house that feels like you're kind of in the treetops. It's really magical. And so this is a good question because this year I'm really proud that I've learned to be alone better. I've become better at being alone, and I used to like not do very well with that. It would make me anxious, and I would kind of just like, I don't know, I would just seek people out to hang out with, and then my social battery would be like extremely low, and then it was just a cycle. So I moved houses about 1.5 years ago, and for whatever reason in this house, it's got the most peaceful, zen, airy feeling to it, and I really love being alone there. Like the most like luxurious self-care that I can treat myself to, meaning not luxurious as in like bougie. I just mean like draw yourself the hot bath, like read all day if you want to, go on a walk. There's hiking trails all over around where I live. Yeah, just like bake or whatever. I don't know. Like now I don't feel alarmed by being alone. I like really crave it. And I'm just happy that I've gotten better at it.
Yeah, cheers to that. All right, here's a budding producer. Do you think you will collab with Dua Lipa?
Yeah. Yes. Manifest. Not no, obviously. That would be amazing. Where are you at, Dua? Come on.
All right, I'm going to make this the last question, but it's going to need maybe some context for some folks. Is the Tamagotchi alive?
No. Girl, it took me 24 hours to kill one Tamagotchi. Do y'all know what a Tamagotchi is in this room? The millennials say yes. The other people say no. Okay, I was so obsessed with those growing up that like me and my sister had one, and we would like give it to our parents like when we went to school and during their workday, as if nothing else was more important. We'd be like, "Don't let it die," and they would have to feed it, and like my mom's like just answering phones and like trying to like keep this damn thing alive. But anyway, yeah. So the other day she was in the audience, and she had a sign that said, "We'll trade you a guitar pick for a Tamagotchi." And she literally had a brand new Tamagotchi like in the box.
They still make those?
They do still make them. Look. Okay, humble brag.
Way to rub it in.
Humble, okay, we love a humble queen. But anyway, so we made the trade. But I was like, it's kind of not fair because you don't have to feed a guitar pick. So anyways, you can put the Tamagotchi on just everyone can put it at the top of their prayer list. Move everything aside and put that at the top, and we'll just see how it goes.
All right, now that we have answered that burning question, Are you guys ready to hear some music? This has been such a delight.
Yes, so fun. Thank you.
Thank you for talking. Everybody hang tight. They're going to reset the stage, and we'll see you back out here with your band.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you. You've been a great audience.
Thank you.